A role is a set of instructions for accomplishing a certain task. Roles can be reused as many times as you like, and if you wish so, shareable with others. You can check out Ansible Galaxy website for more details. There's a bunch of stuff here, not just roles. Ansible has this thing called collections, which is a distribution format for Ansible content. That can include playbooks, roles, modules, and plugins. Don't worry about any of that yet. We'll start with our own simple role. We'll start with a pretty basic Ansible role that will set up hostname for our VPS. Ansible expects a particular directory layout so that a role can access things like variables, files, handlers, etc. If you look at the layout I have provided on the slide, you can see that it needs a directory with role name, here hostname, and in it a subdirectory called tasks. We can create those in the terminal. So currently I'm in the Ansible directory we have created previously. We have only Ansible configuration files. And we will create a directory named hostname with a subdirectory named tasks. Now we need a file named main.yml. Let me jump back to the terminal, cd into this new directory tasks and open main.yml. I'll copy the snippet I have prepared. This section sets a hostname by editing etc hostname file. You first give it a name, this can be anything you like. Then you give it a module name, and after that, module parameters. If you're asking yourself, how do I know that this should look exactly like this? If you search Ansible set hostname on your favorite search engine, you'll end up here. This is the official docs page. This is the module name. There's a bunch of stuff here explaining it, how it works, available parameters, etc. And if you check one of the examples, you will see that it looks almost exactly the same. There's a caveat though. If you check this note here, it says this module does not modify etc hosts file, just the etc host name. Some software still needs entries in this file. And if we go back to the terminal and switch to the tab where I'm SSH'd to the VPS, we can see that etc hosts is empty. Official docs say you need to modify it yourself using other modules such as Ansible built-in template or Ansible built-in replace. You can and you should check those two out, but I will be using Ansible built-in line file. Be sure to read the docs. I will just go back to the terminal, switch to the main.yml, copy another snippet I have prepared. Okay, so I'm using Ansible built-in line file, and these are the module parameters. It means in this file, make sure that this line exists. I've named this localhost because it's setting the localhost address, and this one is practically the same, just for vps.do-p.com. Role is now ready, but in order to use it, we must first add it to the setup.yml in Ansible directory. That is the entry point of our playbook. So I'll go back to the Ansible directory, edit setup.yml, and right under roles, add our new role named hostname. That is the same name we used for this directory here. Okay, if you check my prompt, you will see that my virtual environment is not activated. So I will source it. Now it is. And we can finally run Ansible playbook. So Ansible-playbook, and then the name of the playbook. Playbook has finished, and for each of the sections we defined in our role, it says changed. If we now go back to the VPS and check the etc hosts again, we can see two additional lines. And if we check etc hostname, it says vps.do-p.com. But the prompt still says localhost. In order to change it, we will relog, and now it uses VPS or the short hostname, but if we do hostname-f, we can see full hostname. On my VPS, default hostname was just localhost, just like you saw it in my prompt earlier. The reason we edited the hostname is because all kinds of applications or system utilities need it. One such example is Postfix, a mail transfer agent. By default, it will check the etc hostname file and use that to identify itself to the receiver. If we left the hostname as localhost, other side would see localhost, which doesn't make much sense. Not to mention that that kind of email would probably get rejected in the first place. Another example are systemd services which write hostname in their log files, something like this. This is a log file from my VPS. There's a date followed by current time, then a hostname, then systemd service, and then some message. In the first 3 lines, you can see that it was using localhost as a hostname, and then right after we changed it, it started to use vps.do-p.com. Now imagine that you have multiple servers and that all of them have localhost for hostname. If you would aggregate logs from them to a central location, all you'd see there is localhost. Looks good to you? Me neither. But if each of them has a unique name, you can easily differentiate them in the logs. There are more examples, but I'll stop there.